Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, man, we're back on the channel, man. We got Miss Mojo. You know who Miss Mojo is?
Yes.
You don't know. Today's video,
yes,
man.
I know.
This is a channel.
Oh, yes. I still know. Okay, I know the channel.
But you don't know who's going to be talking, though. You really don't know over here. Today, we got 10 chilling crimes that shook small towns. What is your obsession with putting your hands on my chair?
I just like to stretch out sometimes. And I need to stretch out. Sometimes I be feeling tense.
You should have stretched before you came back to do the video.
All right.
What with that little throw?
I'm trying to pop my...
You try to do that?
Yes. That sounds like it felt good.
You got to throw it like that. I ain't doing that. There you go. I heard a little.
You heard a little song? I felt
That's
it.
a little song. It was a little song. See what's up. Hey, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want the first part, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video.
Like it in with a thumbs up.
Hey, let's go, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
All they want is some money. And then they'll go away.
Please, don't hurt the children.
Welcome to Miss Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most shocking...
Hey, if we don't Miss Mojo...
I want to hear a woman.
We should not be hearing a man.
No.
And disturbing crimes to strike otherwise peaceful and largely unknown small towns.
If your rights are violated to the point that you fear your life or your friend or family's life, then you're going to take somebody else's. That's basic law and nature.
Number 10, the investor fishing boat murders. Craig, Alaska. The small town of Craig, Alaska has largely thrived off of commercial fishing. It was this business that attracted Mark Colthurst and his crew from Blaine, Washington on September 5th, 1982. Just 2 days later, Colthurst's boat, the Investor, was found burning just outside the town. Inside, a grim discovery was made. Colthurst, his pregnant wife Irene, their 2 children, and 4 crewmen had been murdered. Witnesses reported seeing the perpetrator docking the boat, but it wasn't until 2 years later that an arrest was made. John Peel, a former employee of Colthurst, faced 2 criminal trials for the murders, but was acquitted in 1988. The case thrust the usually quiet Craig into a media frenzy and remains one of Alaska's most shocking unsolved murders. Number 9, killing...
God damn.
So you mean it's... Wow.
So nobody's...
Wow.
For all those deaths.
For all those.
Of Ken McElroy, Skidmore, Missouri. Skidmore, Missouri is a tight-knit farming community with a population that has never exceeded 600. So when Ken McElroy, a notorious local criminal, was shot and killed in broad daylight before at least 30 witnesses, how come no one could identify the assailant?
Right?
McElroy had terrorized the town's residents for years and was...
That's one of those. Yeah. That's one of those. We handle things our own. The community took care of their own problem.
He's even convicted of attempted murder for shooting a grocery store owner.
People don't understand what drove a whole town to the point where they felt like they had no other choice.
While out on bail, pending his appeal, he continued his reign of terror.
And the sheriff drove out of town, and just as he drove out of town, McElroy drove into town.
The town's frustration finally boiled over on July 10th, 1981, when McElroy was murdered in his car while a crowd of people watched.
I think I heard.
Shockingly, no one could pinpoint the killer. The bizarre incident pulled Skidmore into the global spotlight, yet the murder remains officially unsolved.
I am scared that they will do the same to us that they did to McElroy if you open your mouth too much.
Number 8, the Theoret family trip.
I swear I feel like I heard about that one before. Because, you know, it's just Missouri, so it's just right there.
I never heard about it.
Homicide, Berks Falls, Ontario. A triple homicide where the perpetrator also takes their own life can leave even a big city shaken, let alone a tiny village like Berks Falls, Ontario.
I just know the family, and they were great people. They were the first ones to come over and welcome us to the community.
On February 23, 2018, Berks Falls witnessed the horrifying murders of Ulla Theoret, as well as her son Paul and her mother Raya Turinen in their home.
The fourth person was not murdered. They were found deceased at that residence.
The three had been shot and killed by their neighbor Mark Jones, who turned the gun on himself afterwards. Jones had reportedly stalked Theoret while trying to date her and even sexually assaulted her at one point. Seemingly angered by her refusal of his advances, Jones carefully planned and executed the murders. Although the case is essentially closed, the horrific loss still hangs over the small community.
It is such a shock because you come to a small community where everybody knows everybody, and, well, you think you know everybody.
Number 7, the Clutter family murders. Holcomb, Kansas.
Let's pull out of here. Now, before it's too late.
During the early hours of November 15th, 1959, multiple gunshots rang through the tranquil farming community of Holcomb, Kansas. Prominent farmer Herb Clutter had been murdered in his home, alongside his wife Bonnie and their kids Nancy and Kenyon. The killers, Richard Hickok and Perry Smith, had heard a false rumor about a safe in the Clutter home and set out to rob them.
They believe we have money hidden in the safe. I told them we didn't.
Didn't I tell you to shut up?
Boy.
He's telling the guys the truth. There isn't any safe.
However, after finding nothing on the property, they executed the entire family.
The
senseless nature of the crime deeply rattled the small town, which hadn't seen anything like it before. Years later, it would become the basis for Truman Capote's groundbreaking novel, In Cold Blood, thrusting the case, as well as Holcomb, further into the spotlight.
You started yelling what a greedy, selfish bastard I was. Yelling and yelling until I grabbed his throat. I couldn't stop myself.
Number 6, murderer of Gregory.
Are we going overseas with it too? Damn. But y'all really killed them because y'all thought
they had something, and then they didn't, and then you was like, well, let's take everybody out. No. It's really dumb.
Stupid,
and
idiotic
and cold-blooded.
Villemin, Les Pages-sur-Valogne, Vosges. For decades, the rural town of La Panse-sur-Lavogne in Vosges, France, has been haunted by the mysterious murder of a young boy. On October 16, 1984, Gregory Villemin was found in the river Vallon. In the years preceding this tragedy, Gregory's parents, Jean-Marie and Christine, had received ominous threats from an anonymous man with a thirst for revenge. After their son's murder, they received another letter stating, "I have taken vengeance." A few family members were considered suspects in the case, including the boy's own mother, Christine, and Jean-Marie's cousin, Bernard Laroche.
4 ou 5 personnes parmi les proches de la famille Villemin restent fortement suspectées.
On voit bien que les photographes ont du mal à résister au gros plan.
On appelle ça un racket.
Jean-Marie would later go to prison after murdering Laroche, believing he was his son's killer. Despite numerous investigations, the question of who killed little Gregory remains unanswered.
Crazy.
Number 5, the death of Nicole Lee Hatimer, Holcomb, Wisconsin. In 1989, the town of Holcomb, Wisconsin was gripped by the strange death of an infant, Nicole Lee Hatimer. Late in the night on December 26th, Hatimer vanished from her grandparents' house only to be discovered lifeless in the snow just hours later. Subsequent investigation revealed that she may have been thrown to the ground, succumbing to either a chest injury or cold exposure. 2 special hearings were held in 1990 and 1998, but neither yielded any substantial leads. It is worth noting that during the first hearing, Hatimer's grandparents invoked their Fifth Amendment rights, and the family reportedly showed little interest in the case afterwards. Even with FBI involvement in the investigation, no criminal charges.
Damn. You finally saw what I was looking at?
Have ever been filed. Number 4.
I was looking at the date.
Yeah.
January 29, 1989, and then December 20. She didn't even make it to see a year.
No.
and coming close to her, and then it's right after Christmas. And I was like, you telling me, suppose she was taken from her grandparents' home, found in the woods,
not too far
from the grandparents' home, and it's like somebody said,
come on now.
Then what even makes it even more suspicious, invoke your Fifth Amendment, right? Where they do that at? Because I've never heard of such a thing. It's your grandchild. Yeah. You're going to be more adamant as trying to find.
You would think.
Come on, bro.
Investigation. No criminal charges have ever been filed. Number 4. The Axe Murders of Saxtown, Millstadt, Illinois. Saxtown, a small farming hamlet close to Millstadt, Illinois, was home to several German immigrant families. Back in 1874, a horrific tragedy befell one of them. Karl Stellschreda, as well as his son Friedrich, daughter-in-law Anna, and their 2 sons were all murdered with an axe. From all indications, the perpetrator was someone close to the family. The incident struck fear into the tight-knit community and caused growing distrust among its residents.
A lot of people living here still live here, and was it this family or that family involved?
Multiple suspects were arrested in connection with the murders, with one of them being tried and ultimately acquitted. Today, the Stellschreda's barn still stands in its original position, bearing the marks of the fateful night that forever haunts this small town. Number 3.
It do be bothering me when people do memorialize like crime scenes and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you don't want stuff, but it's like, I don't know. You don't want people to just throw them away and forget them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But why memorialize such a tragic, Like how when I be seeing like certain, I just said like, for instance, with the Bonnie and Clyde, like the car. I'm like, y'all do know, like, why we're memorializing that? You know what I'm saying? Burn that shit. Why? It's like we framing them being like, all these, they're celebrities, right? But they are some of the most evil criminals. We should forget about them. But more y'all put it out there on display.
But for in that situation, for a lot of people, it's more of a cash grab. In that sense.
But it's the mindset behind all of it. And even the people who want to, I want to go see what.
True. And those, yeah. If you look at it like that. But in some cases, I think some people just, not that situation, but I think some people just don't want to, like, for people to forget about them. Not them. I'm just saying, like for instance, like this one, I don't know if it's more of like we're going to memorialize it or whatever, or more so we just didn't tear it down because it's still.
Like, let's say this, a family killed in a tragic situation inside of a home.
In a home, yeah.
In a family home. You really want to keep that? No, tear that shit down. I don't know. Because, no.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. That's me personally. Some people might think different.
Those supermarket slayings. Windsor, North Carolina. On June 6th, 1993, an armed robbery at Villemin grocery store in Windsor, North Carolina ended in the worst way imaginable. After forcing the manager to hand over the cash, the assailant tied up the store's employees and arranged them in 3 separate piles. Then, he opened fire.
We believe that the person or persons were hidden in the store when they did close.
The gunman took the lives of 3 people and inflicted severe injuries on 2 others before disappearing into the night. Investigators jumped on the case, pursuing every lead and developing a detailed profile of the suspect. Despite these efforts, the search for the perpetrator has proven unsuccessful.
But because it is such a heinous and so terrible of a crime, it is very frustrating.
A $30,000 reward is still available for anyone with information that could lead to the arrest of the mysterious gunman.
Police released this sketch of the suspect months after the crime. They hope someone knows who he is.
Number 2, the Kunz family killings, Athens, Wisconsin. In July 1987, 3 siblings, Marie, Irene, and Clarence Kunz, along with their nephew Randy, were found dead in their Athens, Wisconsin home.
As an investigator, it's a very humbling experience when you have a crime scene with very little evidence and everyone's looking at you, everyone's looking for answers, there's all kinds of pressure.
Randy's mother, Helen, was missing from the house, and her body would be discovered 9 months later in a swamp. Christopher Jacobs III, a farmer with previous business ties to the family, soon became the prime suspect. Jacobs was charged with being a party to the murders, but was ultimately acquitted by a jury. Just as the town was starting to put the incident behind them, it was thrust back into the headlines years later when Jacobs was charged with Helen's kidnapping. This time around, he was found guilty and sentenced to 31 years in prison.
Before we continue, be sure to...
I ain't never. You know why? Because 9 times out of 10, they didn't originally charge him with kidnapping.
They charged him with the actual
murder, and he was
and
acquitted.
they didn't have enough evidence. Well, I mean, I assume, I don't know if the evidence wasn't strong in court.
Now we understand why they do the plea deals.
Yeah,
Point proven why they do the plea deals.
Yeah, because
over time we've been seeing so many people.
So I wonder what some type of
new evidence found for them to be able to charge them with kidnapping.
Yeah.
And that evidence was able to stick once. But if y'all was able to, before charging him with the kidnapping and now the murder, then you could really get him on the, you know what I'm saying? Because if you could have tied the kidnapping then, you could have possibly tied the murder to him too. But since you just charged him with the...
I can't remember. But I just was like, I'm like, I wonder, like, is he out?
Well, true.
Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. Mays County, Oklahoma.
I've met 2 new friends, Michelle Gousset and Denise Miller. I'm sharing a tent with them.
In 1977, the serene Camp Scott in Mays County, Oklahoma was forever marred by a horrendous crime. The bodies of 3 Girl Scouts, Lori Farmer, Michelle Gousset, and Denise Milner, were discovered outside their tent area. The girls had been sexually assaulted and murdered. This tragedy resulted in the camp's evacuation and ultimately its permanent closure. About a year later, Jean Leroy Hart, a local criminal, was arrested and charged with the murders but was unanimously acquitted by a jury. Hart later died in prison for a previous offense, although subsequent DNA tests seem to suggest he had a hand in the murders. The case remains officially unsolved today, leaving the aggrieved families and the local community without closure.
I would like people to think of us as ordinary, with a life of ups and downs and good and bad.
What haunting small-town crimes have you heard of?
But yeah, with that case, I did know about that case. I think the camp area still exists, but they don't do the camp anymore. But people have went and visited the grounds and stuff, and but I don't think it.
And so he was in prison for something,
Similar.
another crime, but similar.
Yeah, if you catch the drill.
So yeah, and like you said, I definitely see why. I used to get like really upset with
the second degree plea deals,
or just like plea deals. Period. Like certain, I'm like, y'all have so much evidence. Here. It's like on a platter. Like, do your job. Do what you got to do. But now I get it because situations like this happen and people walk. Because you have all the evidence in the world, but if that jury
is not competent enough,
then people walk for crimes that they actually committed.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't understand that 100% until the judge actually broke it down. I was like, oh,
yeah,
it makes all the sense in the world. It sucks, but hey. Would you rather them cop a plea or them walk in? They could never be charged again.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes risky, especially some evidence is strong, but you don't know. You know how like, bam, we got them on camera shooting. So it's like, all right, we got enough proof to prove that they are capable of doing a crime.
Yeah.
But we don't have a full proof where the jury will be like, yeah. All the evidence points to this person. So anytime it's a sway of possibility that the jury might find them, you just say, nah, we go.
Yeah. And rest in peace to every victim.
Yeah.
As well.
I'm surprised you didn't know about that last one, though.
I think, I'm just going to say I didn't.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
Spam us up. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts down below for us. But until next time, y'all know how I go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Theoret, Nicole.
We are. We out.
Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.